Hey, everybody. Welcome to Friday Night Live with Susan Lynn. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. You know what I can say? I can say that we made it. We made it through another week. Thank God. I think we're just going to be counting the weeks down until this whole thing falls apart, and it is in the process of falling apart. And I also want to say that every day I'm grateful that I'm not a MAGA, that I'm not cooked in my brain, and I'm grateful that I, somehow didn't end up in the cabinet because these people are literally going through a lot of underwear right now. I think even the women are going through underwear. I mean, I actually think they're buying like military underwear. Like maybe they need stronger underwear to hold whatever's happening. I don't know, y'all that's been in the military. Maybe y'all got military grade underwear for those, oh, you know what moments? It's got to hold it together. I'm just saying, I'm grateful. I'm having a moment of gratitude. That's what I'm having because I'm not wearing military grade underwear, having a, oh, you know what moment. So, yeah, good to see you guys. How's everybody doing? I started before the live happened. Oh, bummer. I hate when I do that. Hey, Kevin Lewis, medium. Well, what did you guys hear me say? Hopefully, you heard me say that I was grateful that we don't have to wear military grade underwear because I think this cabinet is wearing them. Like depends. Like military grade depends. Maybe I don't know. Like I think this might be a thing. So yeah, I'm grateful that I'm just having my little life. And the other thing the guides told me today, they said, you should be, in the future, when it's boring and we're like, oh, that's such a boring life. We're gonna be thrilled. We're gonna be so thrilled. And if some little kid says, I'm bored, we're gonna be like, shut up. We already lived through historic, interestingly times, and now we want boring, right? That's what we want. Um, so yeah, I also want to say thank all my moderators, and I want to thank a goatee man because I just looked at the chat and he said, "Hey Susan, don't forget to make it subscriber only and put on slow mode." And I was like, "Oh yeah!" So literally 1 minute ago, I was making that change. So thank you for that reminder. Yeah, I miss those boring days. I mean, it's kind of wild, right? Like I even miss less boring days that weren't as crazy as these days. So yeah, how are you guys doing? Boring is underrated. It so is. We just didn't know it. We didn't know how happy we were to be bored, to worry about things that were so big for us at the time, right? And now we've got a whole new set of priorities. Um, is the red hair gone forever? I don't know, you guys. Look, I show up. Look, ask Kevin Lewis. He's in the chat. He knows all about hair. I show and ask him about that time I did it myself and it came out red, and he was texting me going, I said it was a mistake. So I go to a hairdresser and she does the thing, y'all. So what can I say? That's all I know. That's all I know. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I hope you guys are doing good. Yeah. Yeah, we will get them back one day, but not until we get a little kick in the butt, right? A goatee man. Yeah, I think that's pretty much true. Did CK know that Erica was evil? I think he did. But haven't we all been in a relationship? I mean, maybe not, hopefully not this level of evil, but we've all been in a relationship that while we were in it, we were sort of trying to make sense of it, or we were trying to just get along to get along. And then afterwards, we leave it and we're like, wow, like some of our exes is in prison, like not mine, not yet. But so yeah, I do think he knew that. And I think that's like I think there was like a few reasons why he had to exit the planet. And I think that was one of the reasons is that he was starting to make problems for her and for other people. And yeah, the guides are saying he was extraneous. They honestly thought that they could just capture TPUSA. They could just capture his fans and like move them over to her. It's again, it's this energy of like not being connected to reality. Like these, whatever he was a little bit like Trump. Like he had this charisma that certain bandwidth of people really liked. She does not have that. I don't even think things that are evil like her. I just don't. She just doesn't have it. So Taco Tuesday, what happened? Taco Tuesday was a rough one. It was a rough one. Everybody was on pins and needles. I get it. Um, and and now we know. I think that was a real watershed moment. The guides are saying we know now that that level of insanity is not going to be allowed. Our military is not going to allow it. Spirit's not going to allow it. It's just not going to be allowed. Now, it doesn't mean that he can't cause insanity in other ways, but on that level, I don't think he'll be allowed to do that. He wasn't allowed to do that. And I think maybe that should give a solace in some way that there was some sort of fail safe like thing that stopped him. So I think that's, to me, that helped me feel better about some things. Yeah, let's talk about this. It's early though, because about 3,000 people are going to join us shortly, and they're all going to be asking the same question. So I hate to cover some of these things early, um, especially something as important and also as kind of triggering as this, which we're talking about. Eric Swalwell. Eric Swalwell is running for governor of California, and he has allegations against him regarding SA, so assault, but the S assault. And I'm just going to say that energetically, this feels correct to me. Um, Energetically, it feels correct, but also he's already sent out cease and desist letters to two of the victims. And the victims have said, come at me. I've got evidence. So that's not good, when you say, hey, stop it or else. And then the person you're saying stop it to says, nah, I'm good. I've got evidence. I'll see you in court. So that's not a good thing. The insider, also political people who were operating in the state that he was before California, he came from this other state, can't remember what it is. They said he had a reputation there. So apparently he has a reputation. Um, and that's unfortunate, because what's happening in California right now is the whole governor's race on the Democratic side is kind of imploding. You've got the billionaire guy who's just running ads nonstop, like just running ads nonstop. You got Swalwell, who was probably the favorite. The wheels are coming off his bus, and people are saying to me, like, why didn't this happen? Or they're saying to everybody, why didn't this happen all those other times he ran? And I'm going to tell you, it's because of this energy, be it astrological or whatever. There's a reason that there were victims screaming, in the e-files and other things, and they were getting no traction. Nobody was paying attention to them. Now, all of a sudden, people are listening because the energy has switched. So now, and this is what the guides have said, right? They've said many times, everybody's going to be under a microscope. And if you've done something wrong, the energy suggests that you will be held accountable. It doesn't matter who you are. We're done with playing favorites. We're done with covering things up. We're done with not seeing things. So this is just the energy. The energy is, you had a good run, but now you're going to be exposed. So I do feel like this is going to be very damaging to his run. As a matter of fact, I'm seeing that guy, that black-headed dude that was running for president from North Carolina, maybe, who just dropped out. Like he had an affair with his assistant. This is back when these things mattered, right? Like now they don't have the same amount of sway. But I feel like, I don't know that Swalwell's going to drop out. The energy suggests that if he tries to fight this, it's going to get worse. Like, okay, let's go to court. Let's open discovery, because I think these women have I think there's real evidence. I mean, like damning evidence. So yeah, Iowa. I knew he had another state that he was active in, Iowa. Okay. So yeah, the guy that's in California that I can't think of his name now, but he's like the guy with no money, running as a Democrat. everybody really likes him, but he's being suppressed. They were talking about it today. He can't get his message out. His message is completely suppressed, and he doesn't have the money, and he can't get any traction. So, um, it's a weird thing happening. And for some reason, I mean, I like Katie Porter, but for some reason, she polarizes people. There are people who are really for her or against her. There's nobody in the middle. You're either for or against. So I'm not sure how she's going to do that. I think I just answered Tracy why it didn't come out before, because it was there. Look, the e-files were there. Victims gave they gave those testimony. They were either bought off or they were threatened. They went into hiding. And now we're in this energy where we don't care. We don't care if you threaten us, and we don't care if you kill us. That's the the energy right now is we don't care anymore. And it also is this energy of if you take out 5 of us, 5 more will pop up, 20 more will pop up. So there's this energy. It's just karmic fate. It's just coming to collect its, debt, I guess. It just seems like they can't outrun it. And I think this was just like a lot of guys. I think a lot of guys did this. That they just this was kind of the way things went, the way things did. And it felt normal maybe, but now it's not. Um oh, that's great. Splashdown for Artemis. Woohoo! Yay, picture perfect. Thank you everybody for the splashdown. Uh Tom Steyer is the billionaire. Y'all, Becerra, thank you. That's him, Denise. AG Becerra is the guy that people seem to think when I go into his energy, he feels a little like the word wonky, meaning like policy oriented. You know what I mean? So I don't, maybe he's not super charismatic like Newsom or something. Maybe he's just more like just get it done kind of guy. But Steyer is the billionaire. And I feel like this, if I had to warn you about something, honestly, what I would warn you about is the fact that we're going to be disappointed a lot in the sense that Steyer could win. Like these Democrats that are Democrats in name only could gather some power. And I would say to you that we're probably going to have to breathe in a bag. Like I'm going to have to breathe in a paper bag because this particularly upsets me. But I think the guides are saying it's better than the Republican, right? Like whoever gets in, we've got to still mold them. We've got to hold them accountable. I don't care if it's your favorite candidate. We can't go back to the days of, well, I'll check in 2 or 3 years. We actually have to be more participatory in government. And even if you're tired and you're like, well, I'm tired, I can't do that. That's okay, because I see these other people who have been sleeping. Like we took first watch, we took first shift. We're exhausted. We're going to take a break. These other people are going to come in. Believe me, they're going to come in. Believe me when I say they have a list of a laundry list of complaints, and they're not going to let these people get away with anything. So even if they do get in office, I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think it's a step backwards per se. I think it is a chance for us to have an opportunity to mold somebody new. That's kind of what I say. Swalwell has an awesome astrology chart. Well, okay then. So let's say that he beats all the odds and becomes governor. How disenfranchised. So the problem is going to be this. There are so many people who are not awake. Even among us, we're all still going, wait, what? Swalwell? We're still catching up. This is a fast-moving thing. It's been going on. It's been going on for a month, but I would say it's been catching a lot of speed in the last few days. And let's say Swalwell gets in, is he going to be the worst governor? No. Is he, he's not going to be the worst governor. Could he maybe mind his P's and Q's and not do anything that would be embarrassing? Maybe, right? It's not the end of the world, but it is an opportunity for us to really take a hard look at how we tend to rubber stamp certain people. We tend to rubber stamp a certain type of candidate and give them a lot of breaks. And people that they abuse get a lot of breaks. And the guides just told me this: listen, don't come for me. But the guides just said, seriously, don't come for me. But anyway, the guys just said, so here's Katie Porter, a woman who we loved her whiteboard in Congress. We loved her when she was taking on Republicans. We loved her sassy, brassy, take no prisoner attitude. We loved that. And then somebody leaked some things about her being bossy and treating her employees bossy. And now all of a sudden, people don't like her. I see it in social media all day, every day. She's too bossy. I don't know where she gets off with that attitude. Well, we loved that attitude when she was taking it to the Republicans. We did. So now collectively, people moved away from her and moved to Swalwell because he was a white guy. I'm just telling you what I know. And he, good looking white guy who seemed to be reasonable. He wasn't bossy. He seemed to be a reasonable guy. So you can understand how there seems to be a little bit of a two different playbook or two different rulers for these people, right? And these are all our lessons. These are all lessons that we have to learn. And I don't care that she's bossy either. Like it now, if an employee came out and said, "Hey, she was abusive," well, then I would need to see receipts, like I'm asking for Swalwell, and then I would say that's a no go. But as much as they've thrown at Katie Porter, they've thrown everything at her. Nobody show me any receipts of her being abusive, because believe me, in this climate, it would be everywhere. They've got the money to make us see it you know so there you go. So I think that when we go into the end of 2026, we'll have to adjust our we'll have to adjust our ideas about what we're going to get, and understand that a Swalwell is better than a Republican, maybe better than Steyer. Porter may be better than both of them. The other guy might be better than all of them. But no matter what happens, we've got our hands full. And also, if you're tired, take some time off and let somebody else do the work for once. The democracy is for everybody. It's sort of like we've been the ones cleaning the kitchen every night and everybody else has been eating the food. It's like, okay, y'all need to get in the kitchen and do some work over here. So yeah. I just think it's funny because I never got that before. I've never gotten that the guys just dropped that on me now. They show me Katie, in Congress with her whiteboard. It's a little bit like Jasmine Crockett, right? Jasmine Crockett will take it to you. She will remind you what you said, and she'll tell you how it doesn't make sense or how you were wrong or whatever. And I think that, again, people would rather have a man that is quiet and doesn't trigger anything, right? These are things we're going to learn. We're going to learn it. Believe me, we're going to learn it. And then we have an opportunity, in 2 more years to go back and do something different. What? Oh, I need to see this, right. Okay. Chelsea Black says 45 has come out and told the administration he will pardon them if they are serving him. He actually said, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, if you came within 200 feet of the White House, I will pardon you. So I mean, what is he like, talking like FedEx? Like, like, hey man, if you just delivered a package, I got you too, right? I got you too. So to me, this is a tell, like in poker, when people have a little facial tick or something, and everybody's like, uh-oh, they got a good hand, or uh-oh, they got a bad hand. It's a way to know that somebody, to know what they're thinking or going to do. And I think this is a tell for 45, because he is saying, he is what he is doing is telling his team, I don't know why I'm using that word, but anyway, he's telling the people around him that I got you, right? I know y'all did dirty for me. I know all the crimes y'all did for me, and I got you. Now, what does that do? That calms them down and makes them stay on his team. They keep using the word team because they're about to mutiny. They're about to say, peace out. We're out. This you're going down, sir. We're not going down with you. There's no honor among thieves. Should be literally the title and theme of this entire administration. Um, but he's saying, no, 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 you need to stay with me because I've got the pardons. So this is a tell that he knows there's mutiny on the bounty, that people are getting ready to not only mutiny, but potentially set him up. Okay, that's a very big thing that happened. It doesn't mean this is all going down today or this week. I still say, like I said last Friday, things started on Easter weekend. They started. They will not be complete maybe for a couple of weeks or a month, but they started then. Some switch was switched at that time. So I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about that. No basis of comparison between Porter and Crockett. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. No basis of comparison. I mean, I'm not going to bite. I'm not going to bite. I'm going to let that go right on by. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Has the orange one been medically taken out for now? Medically taken out for now? I don't think so. My God, did you guys see the pictures of him when he was, I think it was Easter. I think it was Sunday. Like he looked like death warmed over. If there's a definition for death warmed over, it would have been that picture. He's not well. He's not doing well. They're propping him up, is what they're telling me. I feel like you're going to see him and then he's going to disappear, and you're going to see him and disappear because they have to literally put so much in him, whatever it's cocktail of some kind of medications or something. But they literally have to pump him up with this stuff so that then he can be visible, and then he has to relax and rest. Oh, here's the other thing. Here's the new. I've always said there's these multiple timelines, right? Like where he goes to the great hamburger restaurant in the sky, where he goes to the rubber room, where the military comes and gets him. Well, to get to the rubber room, he would have to be, the guides are saying, excommunicated. Now they're bringing the Pope in here. Didn't the Pope do something crazy recently, like excommunicate somebody, excommunicate the Republicans or something? Anyway, so he would have to be brought up on charges, right? He would have to be convicted. He had to be impeached in the House and convicted in the Senate, all the things, and then removed, right? So the removal part is the part where I talked about last weekend, where he's not going to go because there's no constitution anymore. There's no laws. He thinks he is the king or the dictator or whatever. Maybe he's got a new name for himself. And so for him to be removed, this is the timeline that I feel like might be coming into play. So the way these timelines work is, let's imagine a race and all the people are running and there's going to be a winner, right? Like, so the timelines are the racers, and all the racers are jockeying for position. Somebody's getting ahead, somebody's getting back. These are the timelines because they're based on free will of all of his cabinet, free will of Congress, free will of SCOTUS, free will of the robber barons who are pulling the strings, blah, blah, blah. So I feel like the winner is starting to look like, for whatever reason, I could dive into that a little bit more, but for whatever reason, it feels like fate and karma. We just talked about that. Why is all of a sudden Swalwell under the hot microscope? Fate and karma. It's like he needs to be arrested. He needs to be removed. He needs to be in handcuffs. And I also think that, right, okay, I'm so glad they're reminding me of this. They woke me up at 3 a.m. and told me all this, and then I forgot about it. So now they're telling me again. Okay, that's awesome. Check this out. They told me there's certain countries that have sort of this draconian laws, let's say like maybe the Middle Eastern countries, right? Maybe China, these countries that believe in like firing squads, or you don't really get a jury of your peers, right? They're draconian. They're more like the leader says you are going to go to prison, and that's that. It's automatically a made up trial, whatever. They contrasted that in my mind with like Canada, Australia, Britain, Europe, where you have much more civilized system of laws. Okay. What they told me was these other countries, the first ones I talked about, they're they're calling and saying, here's the thing. If you want us to work with you, if you want any kind of relationship, either just a minimal one, we need to see this man in handcuffs. We require it. That's the call that came in. It was so interesting because I go to all the other leaders, like, Australia, Canada, Britain, Europe, and they're like, no, we're not going to, they're not going to cross that line of our justice system. But these other countries are. So for that reason, and also for karma, I feel like he's going to be locked up. He's going to be removed and locked up. And that, I think that's something that we all wanted. A lot of us wanted because we wanted to see justice. And I think a lot of people thought, well, if he gets to exit stage right via the Grim Reaper, Uber, then we're not going to get that justice, right? So I think that's still a possibility, but it seems like the front runner right now is that there's going to be this switch that flips. And what the guides were saying to me just before I went live is that mock outrage. So pay attention for this mock outrage. So the mock outrage is those people who can still convince other people that they weren't in on it or they weren't supportive of it are going to have mock outrage. Like, I can't believe the things this man has done. Now, dear viewers, we're going to be like, our eyes are bleeding from seeing the things this man has done. Yet you're just catching on and you're like, oh, the horrors. You know what I mean? It's mock outrage, but they will turn against him. Now, to get to the rubber room, somebody asked about the rubber room, which is like a mental institution situation. To get there, he has to be arrested. I mean, he has to be removed in some way. So that is the final outcome. I have never seen him. I could be wrong, but I've never seen him in prison. He cannot be in prison. He is a highly valued target. Just imagine if some person shanked him, then there's like, big problems. So he's going to be separated in his own cell in sort of like a bunker situation where he can't have cell phones, where his nurses can't have cell phones. This guy, if anybody could get him out, there's a potential for a big windfall, right? So this place where he is kept would have to be of the utmost security, more than any other security maybe than we've ever had in our history. It'll be an insane asylum, but it'll look like a hotel room or something. How will he be arrested? Well, here's how it can go down, is that if he gets impeached and convicted in the Senate, this could be in June, by the way. I mean, there's a lot of energy for him to go out. He's got an exit point later this month. He hasn't, like, I'm leaving this planet exit point around the third week, like the 18th, right around there, plus or minus some days. But if he doesn't go out, if Barry doesn't take him out, Barry is the name of the blood clot. Thank you, Johnny's Apprentice and Petty Boots. They're the ones that named it. And I believe it's perfect because Barack Obama's college name was Barry. So it just all makes so much sense. So he gets, impeached and convicted in the Senate. So by law, by our Constitution, he has to leave. Now he's not going to leave. So what you would see then is the military going in and arresting him. Now, why do you think he made it okay for the military to have guns on bases? Because he knew that this is a possibility. He's stupid, but he's wily. So he's gamed out all the potential ways that they could take him down. So he said, okay, soldiers, y'all can have guns, because he's thinking that if some military shows up to get him, these other military people that he's wound their corkscrew too tight will come help him. So does that make sense? I mean, it makes sense to me. Hopefully it makes sense to you guys. Let me get down here to the he knows mutiny is afoot. That's why he's that's why he's reminding everybody. And he said 200 feet of this place. So again, he's trying to say, so the guides are saying, I've talked about this before. He is really worried about the staff in the White House. He's worried about the people that clean the White House. He's worried about people that cook food. He's worried about people that do the maintenance. There's staff there. There's people that take care of the grounds. There's all kinds of staff. He's been super worried about them. And I'm sure those people are worried about their own legal situation too. Like, what if I overheard something? Am I legally now? Am I part of this? So I think when he said that, he didn't say my cabinet is pardoned. He said anybody that came within 200 feet of this. He's trying to tell everybody, I got you, right? So yeah, he is paranoid. He's always been paranoid. I know. I want him done. I want him gone too. We all want him gone. Will the White House, what is this? Oh, will the White House not comply with Raskin's demand for a comprehensive neurological exam? Well, yes, in the sense that it's already written. So he called up AI and wrote it through AI, and it's fake. Just like all his other exams are fake. Now, had Raskin said, we want a independent party of some kind, we want an independent doctor or psychiatrist or whatever it is to do this, they would not do it. I'm telling you right now, they wouldn't. The only reason they would do it is if they're trying to get rid of him and they need help getting rid of him. So if you see all of a sudden some changes like that, then you understand the game is afoot, that they are really trying to get rid of him. It'll be another tell. It'll be another way that you know what is happening, right? He remembered Barry Obama. Obama lives in that man's brain 24/7. Well, unless the question is, Boho in Mexico says, yes, will the pardons be valid? And the question is, right now, people assume yes, the pardons are going to be valid, right? You can only believe where we are right now that this man has the power. Now, what can happen is that if there's rumblings around SCOTUS or leaks that get out from Congress that say, oh, we're going to look at treason, because I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if he gets out through impeachment, I don't think his pardons are going to be touched. If he goes out through treason, I think his whole cabinet goes out and he goes out and his pardons go out. Now, let's think about that. Let's say that you're Hegseth, or we know Hegseth is on his way out, and I think several of them are on their way out. Some of them willingly, like, get out now before we get arrested. But you can imagine that if some of these people in the cabinet would say, okay, well, if the options are treason and I'm going to The Hague or, to the tribunal, or we leak something and it helps him get impeached, then let's go for impeachment, right? Because the thing that's happening right now in the White House is everybody is, like I said in my video a few days ago, everybody's fighting each other for the power. Who's going to be left? Who's going to get this power? But if treason is on the menu, then they all go down. So they're not going to go down. They're going to throw him over before they go down, right? And I also think that his handlers, his puppet masters, his funders, they are now ready to dump him. there's a lot of reasons why, but they are ready to dump him. So it's just right now what is happening is they're just trying to decide who gets the chair, who gets the presidency. It's not really up, like, again, they don't understand the Constitution, they don't think it matters. They think they are the deciders, not the laws or the Constitution. So in their minds, they're like, we'll decide who becomes the next president, right? So that's what they're doing right now. What will happen to Trump's money is, first of all, he doesn't have as much liquid money as he says he does. It's a lot like Elon. Elon has more money, but he doesn't have as much liquid money. His money is invested, he's leveraged. That's how I feel Trump is. His kids have been spending the money. They've been making deals with other countries to build Trump towers. But what will happen to his money is, I've always seen the money, the courts going after the estate and taking as much money as they can. Now, the last time I looked at this, and the guides are saying it has not changed, they said that it would be pennies on the dollar. Now, when I say that, please understand that if we're talking $1 billion, pennies on the dollar could be a lot of money. It's not, I don't think we're going to get all the money out of him that we need to get out of him. Here's an even more important question. Where is the United States money? That's a more important question, because the guides keep telling me our money's gone. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know if that means Fort Knox is empty. I don't know if that means the Treasury is empty, but they're saying our money is gone. Like, maybe they're saying that we're so in debt, that we're in more debt than ever, right? But so the kids will be hounded, and the boys are spending the money, because the boys are saying, when I go into their energy, they're saying, well, we know Pops is going down. Either he's going to fall out a window, or, choke on some ketchup, or be in the funny farm. So, but if we can take this money and invest it in real property, in real contracts, we'll have those contracts. And they're going to be in foreign countries where it's going to be a lot harder for the United States to get that money back. So the boys are spending the money so fast because they need to get it invested in something that they feel is safe. It's going to be hard to get it back. Hopefully, that answered your question. Impeachment doesn't automatically remove him. The Senate has to convict him. And that's the problem. He's been impeached before. The Senate did not convict. But let me tell you, if you think that these senators are going to go down, look, they're watching what's happening to Swalwell. They're watching what's happening to people. And they're like, uh-oh, Swalwell, who looks like the poster boy for a good boy, is getting eaten alive. They're really going to come for us. So they're, again, fake moral outrage. They're going to switch, and they're going to turn against Trump so that they can save themselves. And that is possible. What's changed, you might ask, well, Susan, why didn't they do that last month or last year or 8 years ago? What's changed is that the puppet masters are no longer backing 45. So there's that's the biggest change. And now all that has to happen is the Senate has to join that. And it's very possible. Yeah, thank you for the support for me to get my 100,000 subscribers on here. I really appreciate it. God, have we been through some things together? When I think about what we've been through together, it's amazing that we are, supporting each other, and we're getting through this together, right? I just talked about Eric Swalwell. You might have to back up if you're just joining us. You might have to back up 10 minutes, but it's real. What's happening to Swalwell is real. There's real allegations. They are real women, and they have real evidence. So, I think the third thing is, or the fourth thing is, they're not at all interested in being bought off. They're not at all interested in making a deal. They're not. It's just the energy, you guys. The energy is one of now we support the victims. It kind of started with the Me Too movement. We now want to support the victims. And I don't know what all he did. He has not been found guilty in a court of law, so I can't say what he did. I can only say what the allegations are, and I can say that that the allegations are so strong that his attorneys sent them cease and desist letters. This is all in social media. This is all playing out in the public, and the women said, "Fine, take us to court." Make us stop this in court. Now, when you say that, that means you're willing to go to discovery and say, here's the evidence I have. That does not look good, because usually when you get a cease and desist letter, you're like, okay, I'll stop. Sorry to bother you. But no, these women are like, yeah, bring it. They've been vetted by some pretty heavy hitters, and the skeletons are falling out of the closet. That's all I can say. Swalwell is being swift boated. See, okay, maybe he is. Okay, maybe he is. This is what I'm saying. I've said this before. The Democratic Party is going to split across. It's going to split up, because some of us are going to want to believe one person, and some of us going to want to believe the other person. And I think rather than any of us, I think right now it'd be really smart to wait for the evidence, right? Like, I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm saying this looks serious. These women are not backing down. They have evidence. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's guilty, but I'm saying I think this feels serious. Okay. So we'll see what happens. I talked about this earlier. Will Jerry Green win the governor's race in Tennessee? I don't know who that is. I don't know if that's a Republican or a Democrat. The guides are saying is a strong contender, or she is a strong contender. There's a path to victory. That doesn't mean, look, this happened with Kamala. She was there and they just right out from under her. Jerry Green, whoever this person is, scares the opponents to death. This person, I think this person is a Democrat, but they speak clearly, and they're powerful. They're in their power. They feel likable. There's a path to victory. Hopefully they're on our side. Artemis is part of NASA. Let's see, hold on. Connie, thank you for being a moderator. So Artemis 2 is part of NASA. China, Russia plan to build a moon base and use plutonium and other minerals. What the hell? How will this affect us on Mother Earth? Our weather rotation, growing season. You know what? I know that's their plan, but I'm going to say to you that we don't have the money for that right now. We don't have the money. This is not going to happen. It's not. It's if it happened, it would actually have to be China and Russia. Russia doesn't have the money. China has the money, but China doesn't have. China needs everything else, everybody else, to be a part of this. I don't see it happening in the next 3 years, 5 years. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see a moon base. So the guides are showing me Antarctica. They want it to be like Antarctica, where there's a base, and not like a city, but like a base where scientists go and live for 3-6 months at a time, and they're provisioned, and they do research there. So that's what I'm seeing. I don't see the plan that they want. I know they want this. I agree with you, but I don't see it happening that way, really. But maybe I'm wrong. But I could see them landing some kind of, the guides are calling it a module, so some kind of ship there that would be there for, say, like a month or 2 weeks. If you think about, I just don't even think we have the scientific ability to keep these astronauts. I don't know. I don't think we have the money. And I'll say, you guys, after after a couple of months from now, a lot of America is going to be awake, and they're going to really be looking at the accounting of this country and looking at where the money goes, and they're going to be really, serious about that. So the Americans do not want a base on the moon. They do not want a war. They don't want us giving money to anybody, Israel or anybody else. So these are things they don't want. And they're going to wake up from this bad nightmare swinging mad. And so I think they're going to make and the other thing, you might say, well, Susan, they don't have to listen to us, but they do, because we're not buying their food. Right now, what is it? Frito-Lay, the company, Coca-Cola, I don't know who owns Doritos, but like all these companies are reeling because we're not buying their $7 bags of chips. We're not buying their services. This is what the guides predicted last year. You know what the guides told me today? They said, you'll just make your own chips. It'll be like the pandemic. You learned how to make sourdough. Well, you'll be like getting your air fryer out, and you're going to start seeing recipes shared online for how to make your own chips, like Takis or Doritos. I mean, we're not buying their stuff. So that is going to put them in a real bind, and they're going to have to start listening to us. They're actually going to start courting us. They're going to court us. All this stuff where the pricing, dynamic pricing, where it goes up and down depending on school let out, so everything goes up. It's early morning, everything goes down, or you clip some coupons and now the prices go up for you. I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard that, but they're talking about not putting prices on anything and just them being dynamic. We're not going to buy. We're going to be like, we're not even going to go in that store. It's going to be worse than Target. I'm telling you, we are fed up. We are so fed up. We are so fed up. They have no idea how upset we are. They really don't. Yeah, right. Let Fleon, I like your name, pay for the base on the moon. He's not going to, because there's no money there. This is what they want the government to do, right? Georgia Senator Ossoff, is he safe? Right now he is. He feels safe to me. He did a really good job because he got in on that special election, and he must have hit the ground running, because he did a really good job of getting a solid base under him. Like him and Warnock were the two special elections that I remember predicting correctly, because I was like, they're going to win. Everybody was like, they're not going to win. I'm like, they're going to win. But I wasn't sure about Ossoff continuing. I've always seen Warnock being pretty successful. So, but Ossoff got in there and did the thing. He not to say he couldn't be knocked out, but it would be hard to knock him out. So he feels pretty good. Right. So here's an example. Raw cocoa has already come down in price because of lack of sales. But here's the thing I want to tell you too. When they reduce, this is what I keep seeing. When they reduce the price, we don't run to the store. Yeah, it's like I described this last year. It's almost like they're dead to us. I don't know how to describe it. It's like we don't have the desire to do all those things. So we channel our whatever money we have, we channel our wanting to buy things, retail therapy, we channel it towards local businesses. We start crafting, we start making our own things. This is also, the guides are reminding me, brought in about the food, because the food is going to be it's going to be untrustworthy. It's going to be bad. It's going to be rotten. You open it up and it's rotten, but yet the expiration date is good. So we're going to get sick of that. We're going to get sick of the prices or the dynamic pricing. We're going to get sick of all those things. We're going to get sick of knowing that maybe the grocery retailer supports policies that we don't like. And then we're going to start doing other things, going to cultural grocery stores, Asian food markets, or Hispanic food markets. We're going to do anything we can to not feed the beast. All right. I can't kitchen witchery. I love this. She's over here making moonshine. Look, honey, I'm from Kentucky and you making moonshine in the backyard, and I'm good with that. Okay. White lightning is what we call it. She calls it heart lemonade. I'm calling it white lightning with lemons in it. Okay. Good. You go. You go, girl. She's making hard lemonade for 15 cents a quart. Now what's gonna happen? I'm not saying do nothing illegal, but I'm saying if your neighbor needs some, you might sell them a pint for, $1.50. Make you a little money. Just saying. These times are hard. We got to do what we got to do. But that's exactly in a nutshell what I have been saying. You make bread, you need your oil changed. Dude on the corner, woman on the side street knows how to change oil. You're like, you like fresh baked bread? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, how about I give you 3 months of bread every week, or whatever it is. And then, hey, everybody's happy. This is the way forward. Not everybody's going to do this, but you're going to see a lot more of this. This is going to be, the guides call it a fad. I guess that just means it's going to be something that's popular. Oh, thank you. Really appreciate that, Brooklyn girl. Linda, that's so nice of you. Yep, if you're here, hit the subscribe just to remind you if you haven't, or check your subscriptions. Oh, see, here we already got us a recipe. Spray cut corn tortillas with oil, add salt, lime juice, and bake for corn chips. You see what I'm saying? And then I see you guys getting, spicy. Let's put some of this or some of that. Let's try it. And then you're not watching the news, you're in the kitchen having fun, right? You're in the kitchen making some new things and sharing recipes. I mean, this is how we're going to get through this. We are going to boycott corporate America. And it's not even going to be something we think about. It's not even like Target, where like we knew we don't want to support this company. It's like it's like, have you ever lost your taste for something that you really used to like? You loved it. Like I have a friend who lost his taste for coffee, and we're all like, are you okay? It's just, you just lose a taste for something. This is us with corporate America. We're going to lose our taste for it. And we're not even trying, but we're just going to do it. Yes, buy direct from farmers. Those of you that have access to farmers markets, please help them out. Buy everything they have. You can buy, I think they have those boxes where you can sign up to get a box of vegetables every week or something. However that works for you. If you don't want to do that, you can do something different. There's no judgment here. There's no right way to do this. This is another message. We're all going to do it our own way. Like I might not be bartering. I might just be shopping at the Asian market. You might be bartering and not shopping anywhere, or somebody else might have to go to Walmart because, hey, that's the prices they can afford. We're all just going to do what we need to do to get by. But if you have the opportunity for choice, you will choose differently. If you don't, we have to do what we have to do. I don't think the Kremlin's gonna, I mean, the Kremlin has already won. This is all done by the Kremlin, so they've already won. But also, I would say to you that this is not for nothing. Again, it's not happening for nothing. This is happening because we are starving out the corporations. We are going to fix healthcare. We are going to really get back to the environment. Like when I was growing up, Earth First was big, Greenpeace was big. We're going to go back to that because now they're clear cutting. He took out the whole forestry. The whole forestry department is gone. We're about to go into a very dry, drought, fire prone season with no forestry department. This is going to start waking up middle America, and they're going to be like, oh, snap. We really like government. We really like government services. So all this stuff is happening to prove to us that we really want it back. Like, have you ever had a relationship where it was really, really good, but boring? This basically describes our government. And then you got bored and you're like, hey, I'm going to go date this crazy person who's literally psychotic. And then you're like, wow, I wish I had that other relationship back. So this is not all for nothing. Plus, all of these victims are getting heard. We're hearing them, we're honoring them. These are big gifts. These are big things we're getting out of this. It's not for nothing. It's not great, but it's not for nothing. And now, if we 2 years from now, if we let them take us back to where we were, then it will be for nothing. And then that's when I'm going to need the paper bag, because I can't go through this and not make it worth something. So yeah, you guys are sharing in the chat your recipes and things. Yeah, I saw even Pete Buttigieg. I couldn't watch it because I can't watch this stuff, but he was on some show. I don't know what it was. It was a clip, and this guy was just giving him hell about the inflation, and he was saying, "Oh, Biden's inflation was so much higher," and Buttigieg was saying, "But your man said he would lower it. Your man said he would lower it. He's been in office for a year, and it's higher. So let's talk about your man." But that guy just kept like screaming, and it was just like, you can't watch this. And even one of the other commentators said, hey, Buttigieg is right. You just got to concede the point. But he wouldn't. He was just a bully and a blusterer. But at least Buttigieg gets in there and tries. Like, he tries to do it, which is fantastic. Yeah. So, I mean, he would be great. And I applaud him, because this has got to be hard on him too, right? Like, he's a gay man with a husband and kids. These people want him to go away, and I mean, not out of town, So what is going to happen? Okay, let's take a look at this. The door is open to artist integrity. Woo woo. All right. Thank God. Those of us who went through the Challenger thing, I can't watch these things because I watched the whole thing blow up. So I can't watch it. So I'm glad that you're telling me what's happening. I appreciate that. Question is from Love V3M Easy. I'm sure that means something to somebody, but not to my guides. What is going to happen to the DACA recipients that they are delaying their work permits to deport them now? It's not good. I don't like the energy around the DACA recipients. They're not in a good place. They're in a terrible place. This is a problem, because after we get rid of 45, I don't care if it's Vance or if it's Rubio, or they find a cat off the street. No disrespect to cats. This part is not going to change very fast. This horrible stuff that they're doing. So I don't have an answer for you. The answer is not good. They could hide out. They could try to work without the paperwork. They could hide out. They could, there could be an avenue. This stuff is all changing really quickly. Okay. Let's say, again, don't get me started about having Vance as a president. Okay. Okay. If Vance gets in, or whoever gets in, and they continue this murderous kind of energy around immigrants and DACA, you might see, I'm not saying this is 100%, but you might see an avenue open up in Canada or Mexico for DACA people to go and spend, say, 3 years. Like, they might get like this visa situation where they can go to this other country for 3 years and work, and work, like actually be able to make money. Not necessarily refugee. It's actually a whole new status. Now, you might be saying, Susan, they don't want to leave the country. I get it, but this is not a safe place for them to be. So I hope people understand that. The people who are going to pay the highest price are the people who still think this is the United States of America. They're walking around like they still got rights, like there's still a constitution. You really can't do that right now. So if there is an opening for them to escape, I think people should take it. I really think they should take it. And if you think about it, if you go to another country and you get to work or you get to go to school, you can come back. I see them coming back, actually enriched. I don't see them going there being impoverished. I see them going there getting help, being supported, and I see them coming back with more skills and more money than they left with. So I think it's actually potentially a really good thing. Now, I can't promise that, but that seems to be a possibility. Um, I hear you. Eastern Kentucky mountains will burn down during dry season. I hear you. I think the West is going to burn. The Pacific Northwest is going to burn. My God, do you guys remember not that long ago the swamps were burning in Florida? Um, but I don't know what to tell you guys. This is what our Congress, when they come to you, because they will, and they say, my God, this is a monster. My God, this is terrible. Look what they've done to the forest. Look what they've done to the people. I want you to look them in their eye and say, you were there when they were doing it. And this is BS. We're holding you accountable. Don't let them escape accountability. Okay. But I will also say, we took the shift. We took the first shift. We're exhausted. We need to check out. We need to clock out. So guess what? If the mountains of Kentucky burn, if the fields burn, if the Pacific Northwest burns, if the marshes burn, the people who live there are going to wake up and understand how important it is to have regulations and how important it is to have a government. And also, the guides are saying, it's not like nothing will be done. The states will have some resources, not a lot of resources, but they will have some resources. And then you will see neighbors helping, pumping water out of their pond, pumping water out of the river. You will see communities come together. This is what happens during natural disasters. But this is our lesson too. Our lesson is the government is the bad person. The corporations are the bad person, not that person right there. We are on the same team. They're the bad people. So it's also about making us understand more viscerally, right? Who's on whose side. Oh, the astronauts are coming out. That's great. I'm so glad to see it. I didn't get anything bad with that, but I haven't been able to watch it, as I said. Um, who will win the Hungary election? I don't really know who's running. I guess the dictator's running and somebody else is running. Do you know when this election is? It's important because if it's within the next couple of days, the dictator could win. The longer we, believe it or not, the longer we have, the more opportunities we have for people to wake up. We kind of need time. It was today. Okay. It was Sunday or today. It's this coming Sunday. Okay, it's this coming Sunday maybe. Okay, thanks. Um some people are saying it's tomorrow. Okay. Um the guides are saying he's not going to win. The Orban's not going to win. That is, if that happens, you guys, that's a big tell, right? That means Trump is going out too because Vance was there campaigning for Orban. Did you guys see that? Vance was saying we got to get this guy elected. I can't guarantee it, but I'm saying that it doesn't feel like he's going to win. Oh, Libby's here. Hey, Libby. What does Libby say about it? Where did you go, girl? He's not going to win, but he's going to try to pull a Putin. Right, exactly. Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. He may not leave. He might do a 45 and just say, "Well, try and remove me. Go ahead." Like, right? But Vance should go too because Vance is supporting Orban. So there's a whole bunch of problems. No, if loses, if Orban loses, he will flee if he feels like his safety. I feel like the people of Hungary don't want him. I feel like they're rallying against him. So if he feels his safety is at risk, he will flee. But you know, these people flee thinking I will live to fight another day, right? They don't flee. They flee thinking like Netanyahu, like Stone. All these people left and then came back. Hitler went to prison and then came back, right? So yeah, I'm not saying he will come back. I'm saying that's his mindset. His mindset is, I'll get out of the burning fire and then I'll come back when I can. Um, so let's talk about Melania briefly. She came out of her. You're so nice and said ivory tower. I was thinking more like hole in the ground or cave or something. Portal from hell, maybe. She came out of her ivory tower and mentioned that she wasn't friends with Epstein. She mentioned she wasn't friends with Epstein and kind of made it like a threat. And the reason why did I not? Yes, the reason why is because she had this friend. This is all reported on, if you can believe the news media. She had this friend when she was like 18, named Amanda. Her name is Amanda Ungaro. Allegedly, they met Epstein together. Now, Amanda Ungaro was also hanging out with this other dude, Paolo Zamboli, who was really prominent between Trump and Epstein and sort of like a fixer, a guy that made things happen. So Paulo and Amanda, I think, were an item. I think they were married or something, and I think they have a kid. Anyway, he wanted to divorce her. He wanted to get rid of her, so he just had Trump call ICE and had ICE go get her. He literally just said, "Go get this woman and deport her." So she did. She got deported. And then, she disappeared for a month or 6 weeks. And then she popped back up because she finally got to some other country through the whole ICE thing that she did. And now she's on social media and she's saying, Melania, I know you, girl. I know everything about you. I know all your lies. I know all the things about you, and I'm about to expose them. You shouldn't mess with me. Okay, so Melania said, I wasn't with Epstein. This woman came out and said, yes, you were. And then the third thing that happened is 45 shared the unbelievable video, which I did not watch, of a woman getting unalived by a man using a hammer. He put this on his Truth Social. This is like 1, 2, 3, all happening within pretty close proximity time-wise of each other. So Melania did that to warn Amanda to shut up. Then Trump did that to warn Amanda to shut up. People think it's about Melania. It's not about Melania. Melania owns Trump. Melania is Trump's handler. This is about Amanda and anybody else. You better not think about coming for me because here's a woman with a hammer. And did anybody ever, people seem to forgot that Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked by a dude with a hammer. So there's a reason that he used that. He's very violent, but these are warnings that he does. He put a video, he certainly did. This is 100% documented. He put a video, right? He put it on the official White House socials. Yet, where are the Democrats? Where are the Republicans? I'm just saying, I don't know what is happening right now. Ungaro needs to be careful because you know what happens to people is and she's doing an interview in Spain. I think it's Spain. She's doing an interview with the media there. So again, this stuff cannot be contained. It cannot be contained. Here's this woman, you did her dirty. You got rid of her because you didn't want to be married to her. You couldn't divorce her. I mean, what the heck, right? Like, what's wrong with these people? And here she is coming back to get you. This is the same thing that's happening all the way around. These people will come back and get you. They're not going to just disappear. She's not shutting up. They took her child. They took her life. I mean, her whole life was just pictures of her partying with all the special people. I mean, she was in the middle of it all, even as recently as a year ago or whatever, 6 months ago. And they took her kid and they tossed her out, on a plane in an ice facility, right? So she's mad. And she said on social media, take my life, I don't care. Like this is exactly what I said earlier in this broadcast, right? I said people are saying we don't care anymore. We're going to tell our truth. And we don't care if you threaten us. We don't care if you take our lives. She said, "I go ahead, take my life. I'm going to tell you all everything that happened." It's getting wild out there, really. It very much is The Godfather, 100%. This is so much like The Godfather. Father. Um, yeah, she says the last thing she ever does. Yep. She's I think she'll shut up if they, for her, I think she'll shut up if they give her kid back. But the thing is, you can't trust these people. They'll just say, "Oh, our bad, here's your kid." Then you'll walk away and a month later you'll be falling out of a, car or something, I mean, you just cannot trust these people. They're very, very evil. Yeah, I hope that is true, right? I hope she understands that she needs to just get it out there. But then they might go after her just for retribution, right? These people are also the kind of people that like retribution. Like, so when he goes down, he's going to take everybody else with him. So, yeah, the Mar-a-Lago mafioso, that's a really good name actually. He probably put that on hats. Where is the bottom of this abyss? Uh, it's pretty close. We hit the bottom and then we kind of roll a little bit and it's good, cuts and bruises, but it's close. Believe me, it's close. And then we get to climb out of it. But climbing out of it is not torture because we get to build our way out of it, right? We get to decide how it looks. Yeah, how is that not filtered? I don't know how it's not filtered because, well, okay, so the guides are saying, like, I can't say certain things here, but yet there's other channels that say all kind of things, and somehow they don't get filtered, right? So it didn't get filtered because it's him. They don't filter his stuff. And you got to wonder too, somewhere if there's not some technician who's like, let it go because the world needs to see how horrible he is. There's also that sense too that if we hide it, then people don't know the truth, and that's part of the reason we are where we are because the media is not reporting this stuff. So the average person has no idea. I'm telling you right now, I talk to them and they have no idea any of this is going on. They literally have no idea. Zero. They're starting to find out if they have kids in the military or they have family in the military. They're starting to get things that are making them very uncomfortable. But yeah, she's in Brazil. Okay, sorry, I thought it was Spain. And just remember, we talked about a lot of things earlier. So if you're wondering, I probably covered some things. Yeah, I covered this pardons for everyone, so we're close. Exactly, Libby. Like we are. Meister Tro has a great channel on YouTube. You guys check her out. You can see it in her name right there. You can see the name of it. But yeah, it's a tell. This is a big deal because he's telling everybody, don't turn on me. I'm the only one who can save you. I have the magic pardons. So you really need to stay with me. So it's a big tell, actually. Right. And this is what I've said so many times. Libby is saying, if not for the felon, all this would remain in the darkness. And so this is, even though it's ugly and we don't like it and it's just horrible, I think on some level it's been happening. This man is almost 80 years old. He's been doing this his whole life. We're just now holding them accountable. We're just now seeing the light, right? Somebody asked me a question about the Pope. What did the Pope do? Did he excommunicate somebody, or did he excommunicate the Republicans? I mean, he's not playing. I wouldn't mess with the Pope. I know he's not coming to the United States. He's canceled his trip to the United States. Um, you can't wake up the ones who are sleeping. See, this is what we know from dealing with MAGA, right? We tried to talk it sense into them. We tried to show them the truth, and they wouldn't believe it. The ones that are going to wake up, and this is not just the MAGA, but these are the people that are unawake, that are, have two jobs or going to school, or they hate politics. They've thought maybe all politicians were the same. They're going to wake up because this is going to hit them, you know, um, in different ways. The problem is it's not hitting them quite fast enough. It's sort of like a series of punches. Like, I think gas prices are going to continue to rise, even though in some states they've dropped to a couple of cents. That's because we are subsidizing the prices, right? But I think that, so if prices go up and kind of stay the same, that might not be enough to wake them up. But add to that the fact that their kid or their family member or their partner or whoever has been deployed. Add that to the fact about they keep talking about the draft. I warned you guys about this a couple of months ago. They're talking about it again. Add to that fire season, no FEMA, no help. Just these are the things that are going to wake them up. Truly, these are the things that are going to wake them up. The Pope spoke bad about Trump, right? So, I wouldn't underestimate that. I wouldn't underestimate that. That so the guys are saying that's going to wake that group up. So the Catholics are going to get woken up. They're going to get woken up. I wouldn't say that they're all going to automatically agree with him, but I'm going to say that they're all going to now be listening. They're all going to be paying attention. They're all going to be like, "Wait, what?" So sometimes that's the first step, when you're like, "Wait, what?" And then you see something and you believe it more because the Pope said, "This guy's a bad guy." So now you're primed, you're ready. So now when you see this, you're like, "Oh, the Pope, yep, he is a bad guy," right? So all the evidence actually makes sense more now that you have um, some sort of perspective from somebody that you trust. God, I wish he would excommunicate JD. I wish he would do a lot of things. I wish a lot of things would happen. Um, he's investigating Opus Dei. So that we've talked about this before. The guides are telling me, right? We talked about this because you guys asked, why isn't he doing something about Opus Dei or doing more about Opus Dei? And the guides told me he is and is not afraid of Opus Dei. There, if you think about it, I'm a mortal human being, even as a pope, and I have X number of years maybe to do some things. I could help these countries. I could really provide some huge benefit in these areas, or I could go after Opus Dei and fall out of the Vatican window, because that's what would happen. It would seriously happen. So he's picking his battles. Now, if he's publicly going after Opus Dei, then I think that's a decision that he's made, and I think he's made his peace with it, because I think he understands that he's a change agent, that he is not. I don't feel like he's a pope who's going to be 98 years old as a pope. I think that he's a change agent. I think that he will be here for a shorter term, whether that's health related or not. I mean, health related as in I'm stepping down because of this chronic illness, or if he steps down because he's moved out of this dimension. But he's made peace with that, and he understands that I'm here to get this bigger thing done. It's almost like, and also has to do with the fact that he's American, that he has this opportunity to right a lot of wrongs, energetically and otherwise, that the Catholic Church, he's taking it on himself to to be, to right the wrongs. I don't know how to describe it, but hopefully that made some kind of sense. I think he's a good guy, and I think that that was also a big tell that we were able to even get him in, because what are the odds, right? He was going to be against everybody, and he is. I don't if Vance gets in and does something that is even worse, or not worse, but let's say he continues Trump's policies with immigrants, um, and then there's something about food. If Vance gets in and denies food to somebody, he could be excommunicated. But I don't see that happening. I think other things are going to take care of Vance. There's other options. There's other options there. I don't think he wants to do that. Yeah, that's not something he wants to do. And I don't think he thinks it would make a difference. Again, he really is focused every day on, I have this precious day before me. What can I do to use it for the best and highest good for the people? So everything has to stack up against that, right? That is his litmus test every single day. Yeah, right. That's excellent. Rita's Biz. The rash on Trump's neck. Somebody said he got sprayed with holy water. For real. Yes, Pope Leo is more morally and politically outspoken than any other. And what are the odds of that? So these are bright spots that we should really be grateful for. I know it's easy to be, in the darkness and feel like there's nothing good happening. But the guides have always said this is a courageous timeline. We are helping the victims. We are supporting the victims. We are believing the victims. So this is big. I don't think we've ever done this in the history of our country. And I'm going to say that I don't think that this has ever happened like this since, patriarchy. Have we had this kind of energy of, let's believe the victims, be they men, be they women, be they children? This is new. This is a really big new energy that we're experiencing. Okay, hot question. Cindy Reed says, the head of the United Nations praised Dumpy and said we are safer now after Iran. Why did he do that? Because the United Nations is full of independent nations that are not they're not angels, the guides are saying, right? Like there are a lot of people who do not like Iran for any reason you can imagine. I mean, any reason at all. This country keeps trying to they keep trying to enrich and have nuclear capacity. You don't really see Argentina doing that, right? So I think that Iran has kind of this image of being the bad boy on the block that wants to be with the big boys and have the nukes, and so I think a lot of countries are afraid of them, and I think for that reason they would rather, you know put them in their place. It's really about fear. If you're in the UN, you're a lot closer to Iran than we are, physically, as far as a missile goes. So I think that it's complicated. It's not black and white. People are going to side with different countries for different reasons. You know, I don't think Obama is a big fan of Iran, right? So I mean, I don't. But of course, Obama's not going to bomb them. That's the difference. So I don't know, the head of the UN. People are not who we think they are. Truth, truth, truth. We just assume that people are civilized. We assume that people will do the civilized thing, and then we get surprised. But we shouldn't forget them when they show us who they are. Let me scroll down here and see what else is happening. The recruiters are getting, I'm hearing this. I don't know. I think well, never mind. I know. All right. The guides answer question when I was trying to, Okay, the question is, I feel sick when you talk about the draft. A recruiter approached my son when he was stocking shelves at a local retailer. I call BS. This is not ethical. It's not. None of this is ethical. I call BS on this whole timeline. How about that? I want a refund. I think this whole thing was wrong. We got hijacked basically. They are. I started to say that maybe I'm seeing these reports of the recruiters approaching people just because we're all upset about Iran, but the guide said no, they are actually approaching more people. They need more people in the military. They want more people in the military. They weren't meeting their objectives before because Americans are not fit. There's not enough of us that can actually pass the test to get in. And so they're turning up the heat. This is what the guide said. So, there are recruiters are being more aggressive about recruiting. So they're being more aggressive about calling parents to get permission, and they're being more aggressive. They're going to be way more aggressive on college campuses. Um, I don't, I can tell you this much. If they really enact the draft, if they really do it, that will be the end. That will literally be the complete and total and final end of the Republican Party. Because who are they going to draft? Republicans. Who are they going to draft? They're not going to draft billionaires' kids. They're not going to draft CEOs' kids. They're going to draft those people who live in red states, who don't have money, who don't know what is going on, who don't pay attention. They're going to draft them. And I'm telling you right now, it'll be the end of the Republican Party, and it'll be the end of this whole thing. And it'll probably be the closest we ever get to a civil war. That is how I feel about it. So I'm worried about the draft from that standpoint, that when they do it, it's going to trip the final trigger of these people's awareness of what's happening, and they're going to get very, very wild in the streets. So I can't say never because I just looked down the timeline, but God, I don't see it happening right now. They want it to. That's why I've been telling you about it for months. I've been warning you guys. They want this. They want this for so many reasons. But I don't think if they do it, I don't think they might actually do like a big money, like they might give you a big money thing and or put you in some kind of fitness camp. Like they already do that a little bit. I know somebody who went through that whole situation where she wanted to go into a certain part of the military, and she spent a year working out with them to be able to do it. So they do have the ability to work with you as a civilian to prepare you to enter. So it could be that they give people a lot of money, and guess what? The economy's so bad, people might take them up on it. So that might help them not have to do the draft. Denise wants to know, how much longer will we be involved in Iran? The problem is, when I look at this energy, Iran is happy to be in it. Okay. I'm gonna tell you right now, they're happy to be in it. They're happy. So that's not good. And they the energy suggests that for once people are listening to us. For once we have the power. For once we're like, I talked to you guys earlier about them being like the bad boy on the block. Well, now they wanted to get those nukes. They wanted to be just like all the other big, strong, Middle Eastern countries. Now, guess who's controlling everything? Everything. So they are going to keep this up because it is their power play. This is their power. They figured it out. They're like, oh God, we've got power. Now, whether or not the United States is involved is a different message. So I don't feel that we will be involved. Honestly, I don't think we will, say a year from now, in the manner that we are now, or even 6 months from now in the manner that we are now. For one thing, we're not gonna, I mean, what are we gonna have left? Are we gonna have ships left? Are we gonna have planes left? Are we really gonna have, are we, you know what I mean? We're gonna be a little bit thin on Remember the two planes that went off the aircraft carrier? Remember that? We've been losing equipment for a while now. So it's not like it's just getting destroyed now. So I feel like we are going to pull back because the American people are going to be like, no, 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 and no. Um, the guides are saying austerity. So they've said this many times. So they show me this quick movie of us trying to quickly switch to renewables. Like that means like 3 years instead of what was 10-year plan is now a 3-year plan, but also having austerity measures where we ration gas. And all of this is because we we cannot, no one can go in there. No one's going to go in there and take Iran out. That country is like a fortress. It's surrounded by mountains. It's a fortress. So I feel like we're going to pull out, but I feel like we're going to have some austerity measures. And I also saw that for Europe. I will also tell you that Europe, I don't see their gasoline coming or even heating oil or anything coming down as much as ours because we have the ability, we have the stockpile, the strategic stockpile. Remember when Biden dipped into that to lower our prices? We have ways of lowering our prices. Even given that they're going to remain pretty high, maybe not $8 a gallon, right? But they could easily remain 350 to 450 in the middle of the country and 650 on the West Coast um, for a while, which will create natural austerity, right? Naturally, we're not going to drive as much. So we will respond to that. Um, I think I answered your question. It's complicated, but I don't see us being in there. Let's ask it like this. When 45 goes, will JD wants to continue it. I just went into his energy. He's like, "Yep, we're going to do it." Because he needs a win. He needs to look like, King Kong, like pounding on his chest, big man, whatever. So he's going to want to continue it. But when JD gets in, Congress is against JD, SCOTUS is against JD. I think Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, everybody is against JD. Everybody is against him. No one likes him. So he starts to get walled off. He starts to get his law. He can't even have veto power because he doesn't have the ability to override. So he has much more limited things that he can do. He tries to do the executive power thing, but those don't go quite as well either. So hopefully that explains it. I don't know. When I'm channeling, I don't want to start repeating myself because I don't know really what I'm saying. Um, let's see what else. Pakistan has nukes, China helped them, right? So you can understand that Iran wants to have nukes, and you can understand that India would like to have nukes. You can understand everybody wants to have them. But here's the thing. We're moving away. I want to give you guys this heads up because we get all wound up about nukes. And I get it. It's been in our mind since the 50s or the 40s, and it's really played an oversized role in our mentality. And I just need to tell you that there are other weapons that are being made that are going to be just as effective in a different way. And and countries are going to be making those. They don't require some rare mineral. They're percussive. They're these weapons that can just. We already have them. I've already seen articles about them in the last couple of weeks. Right? They just can. I'm going to use the word evaporate people. They don't disappear, but you're compressed. You're everything inside of you is compressed. So there are things besides nukes. So we need to sort of stop being distracted by nukes. We need to be talking to our defense. We need to get, again, the guides are showing me mothers against drunk drivers. Okay. Who remembers driving? I don't because, whatever. Who remembers driving with like an open can of beer? Your dad driving with an open can of beer. That was all stopped by some women that kept going to Congress and just driving them crazy. How did we get seatbelts? Believe me, nobody wanted them. Nobody wanted seatbelts. Okay. We can change our government. We can change these things. We really can. We simply have to get organized and we have to continue to beat them down. And guess what? Now's the time. Now's the time because these corporations are going to be wooing us. They're going to be courting us. They're going to be willing to make a deal. For the love of God, let's get in there and make them pay the price instead of the Democrats saying, for the good of the country, we're just going to get together and move on. No, we're not. For the good of the country, we're going to get complete and total free health care. For the good of the country, we're going to take care of the environment. For the good of the country, we're going to take care of DEI completely. For the good of the country, we're going to fund all Black colleges and universities. For the good of the country, we're going to start treating women like humans and research them and give them their rights back. And we're going to take care of our LGBTQ trans people. And we're not going to forget about our Native peoples. We're going to go take care of them too. We're going to actually take care of people. That's what we're going to do. We have an opportunity while they are on their knees begging for us to buy a $7 bag of Doritos. Make them pay some taxes. That's what I would say. 4 astronauts are out. Yay! So happy to hear that. Yes, Carter was the last. He was the one that they stole the presidency from. The first one. Oh, your father put seatbelts in cars before they became popular. That's really cool. Yeah, or airbags, right? Like there's so many things. Oh my God, Walmart. Look, I'm telling you, Walmart is going to seal their fate with this. Walmart has dynamic pricing. You can't find the price because it depends on how many people. If it just so happens that 5 people are in the checkout lane buying toilet paper, guess what? Your toilet paper just went up by $1 for no reason other than it's not going to work. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to work. It's not. People are going to go to Aldi's. People are going to go to any place, and these corporations, I guess they just have to learn the lesson. They just have to learn the lesson. We cannot reward them for this stuff. The defense budget is going to need to be rebuilt, and this is horrible, but this is McConnell saying, why are y'all against the Ukraine war? We're going to make a killing. He literally said this on a video. We're going to make a killing. We're going to, first of all, we gave them, do you guys remember? We gave them all these weapons from like World War II, and then we charged them for them. And then when they got rid of them, we started giving them, our second, third generation weapons, charged them. And, so we got rid of our stockpile. We have to make weapons for us. We have to make weapons for them. It's a money grab. It's just a complete money grab. It's ridiculous. Carter was a truly, truly a good, probably just one of the best true presidents. We're going to have to rewrite the tax code. But I'm saying that this year, the rest of this, summer, and the guides are saying, they're interrupting me to say that all these special elections keep going to Democrats. And some of them are going to, I saw a trans Democrat win recently. Okay, so liberals are winning. When people start telling you it's not going to work, it can work and it does work. Liberals are winning. Okay, so we're going to get these people in here. We are going to rewrite the tax codes. We are going to change Citizens United and make corporations not people. We're going to take that status away from them. We're going to do this stuff. But there's going to be a lot of screaming and yelling. And I saw McConnell say it. I saw it with my own eyes. I'll never forget it. That he said, look, this is great for it. Maybe Lindsey Graham said it too, but I for sure saw McConnell say it. McConnell has been very vocal about, so has Lindsey Graham. He's been very vocal pro about the Ukraine war, but that's not because they're worried about Ukrainians. They're all their defense, stocks are going through the roof. So, yeah. Yeah, we do. We probably need to, Gody man, quadruple the taxes on the upper classes and corporations. I mean, 1950s, weren't they paying 50% tax rate or even more? And that's when healthcare became for profit, is when their taxes went down. It's just wrong. And we need to be very vocal and involved about fixing it. We can't just walk away from it. Oh yeah, 1%. Like we can't let them run away either, these billionaires, right? That all left California because California started taxing them. But it's interesting because, a lot of them went to Texas and they're going to turn Texas into California, and then Texans are going to be freaking out. Oh, wow. This was in Australia, I assume, Libby. Way back in the 70s, my father was paying 70% on his top bracket, 70%. But if you're 70% and you're making just a whole ton of money, that's still a lot of money, right? It's not like this is something that I want to talk about too. Everybody's doing gig work right now, right? People are having to drive Uber or do grocery delivery or whatever it is, Amazon delivery, whatever contract job you can get. Contract jobs are what they're pushing us to, because they don't want to pay our health care. They don't want to pay our taxes. If you have an employer, your employer pays like 15% of your taxes and you pay the other 15%. I know this because I was an employer. So I would pay, half of my employees' taxes. If you're a contractor, you're paying all of it. You're paying what your employer would pay and you're paying what you would pay. So you're paying, in many cases, 30% taxes. You might only be making 40,000 a year. 30% of that is going to go to the government. It's wrong. So they're trying to push us into contractor gigs, which is, some people love that, which is great. But those contractors have got to start fighting back and saying, we're not going to pay these high taxes, right? Because if you're going to make us be a contractor, then we have to pay our own health care. We have to pay our own, like if you're an Uber driver, you got to pay your own care of your car. You got to pay your own, all the insurance on the car. You're in business for yourself, basically. But yet, you're not getting a break for that from the government. So that's something we all need to start talking about, because they're really going to push more and more contract gigs on people. Well, you can refuse to pay taxes, but the problem with that is, and it's something I don't recommend, but I know people disagree with me, and that's fine. But here's the thing, it's a law. Let's say by some miracle that we get a Democrat in, before the presidential election. The guides talked about we could have a snap election, they called it, right? Well, you haven't been paying your taxes, and now there's a Democrat in, and you got to pay back taxes. You've got to pay penalties. You've got to pay interest. And I'm just going to tell you that I do not see a court saying, yeah, you don't have to pay that because you were protesting. I don't see that. I see a court saying, yeah, we're going to pay these government workers back that you fired. Yeah, we're going to pay these people back. But I don't see the government saying, you not paying taxes was a protest and you don't have to pay. I don't see it. So I think you could actually harm yourself when money's already very sparse. You could end up paying penalties and interest on this for 5 years or 10 years. And I just don't think it's a good use of our protest power. I think a better use of our protest power is to form groups like Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, form groups, get in front of Congress, run for something, that group that will help you run for office. You know, you have more power changing the system that way, I feel. That's just what I get, right? Like, everybody do what you want to do. Right. So this is a great question that Eco Soul Art says boycotting Amazon is easy. When you log into your canceled account, check what business sold what you ordered or ordered in the past, and just go directly to their website. So this person is saving money, right? This is what I'm saying. They're messing with the wrong people. They think we're stupid. They think we're lazy, but we're woke now, and we are going to cut out the middleman. And guess what? Amazon is the middleman, and that company is going to make more money from us, right? Because they pay Amazon. So this is a win-win for us. It's a win-win for that company. This is what I'm telling you. These corporations are going to come to us on their knees. They're going to be begging people. And when that happens, that's when we have the opportunity to say, you want our business? Here's how you can get it. You're going to pay 15% more in taxes. When you pay 15% more in taxes, I'll think about shopping at your store again. Until then, forget it. And you know what? They're going to do the math, and it's going to be worth it for them to pay the taxes. We just have to remember our power. We really, really do have power here. It just doesn't look like it right now. I don't think it's half. You should Google it, because I think knowledge is important, and I don't think it's half of our dollars go to Israel, but I think some of them go to Israel. And I think that we should know what that is, because we should be able to just say this amount is definitely going to this country, be it I don't care what country it is, and I feel this way about it, right? This is what I'm saying, right? Like, we're going to be smart, we're going to get smart, and we're going to know what's really going on, and we're going to be able to talk about it in a way that's very knowledgeable. And it might be 50 cents. It could be 5 cents of every dollar, but yet you don't want that to happen, or you do. That's your decision. Oh, Sharon Shipe, you can be here anytime. I'm always happy to see you. Don't worry about being late. Just happy to see my moderators. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, so we're going back to that Tea Party, the original Tea Party, taxation without representation. I agree with you, but they didn't stop paying their taxes. They just threw the tea in the harbor. But I just, if everybody stopped paying their taxes, I I energetically I can't see a way that that works. I'm just saying energetically. But could we could we find a way to sue the government? There could be other ways that we do that. Let's see what else you guys are talking about. I know it's horrible to pay taxes to this organization, this cabal, but really the taxes you're paying today or this April are really going to be more for the rebuilding anyway. They already stole the taxes you've been paying for 20 years. That's the money they stole, you know? Right, and a guaranteed living wage. I think we're gonna be doing more unions. I think we're gonna put more pressure on unions. I think the gig workers, like Uber drivers, might be unionizing, because we need a way to be powerful, and that comes in groups. That is really the way, is to get into a group. Well, and that's data. So this person went to somebody's website and got a notice that they shipped it from Amazon anyway. That's because Amazon has the warehouses, right? Amazon offers to warehouse the product. Um, so then you can decide, do I need to look for another retailer, right? That small retailers, it's like what are the guys saying? It's so enticing. It's so enticing to say, "Oh, Amazon can store it. You'll just charge me more, and you can ship it, and you could be the store." You know what I mean? It's easier for small businesses, so that's why they do it. But you might decide that you're going to go to a whole new retailer. That's the thing. We have the power of the purse. The guides are saying we can change where we buy and who we buy from. What else is happening here? Update on Ukraine. You know, whoops, with everything going on, I keep trying to push it, but I can't. The chat move, and I have slow on, but the chat is moving fast. Okay, got it. Ukraine update. With everything going on, I have not been paying that much attention to Ukraine, although I will say that there are reports that Ukraine has used drones to shoot down missiles or whatever they are, or other drones in the Strait of Hormuz. So Ukraine is actually helping us all out. They don't deserve us, right? Like, I mean, my God, Europe should really, we should all be helping them a whole much more than we have. Uh, but energetically, I mean, I'm just double checking because the guides just said they're kicking ass and taking names. That's what they said. So I think Ukraine is doing pretty well right now. They seem to have they seem to have the guides are calling it a winning strategy, and they showed me tanks being stuck in the mud because this is like mud season, and the tanks would get stuck, and so the ground war using tanks and things is very hard at this time of year when the ground is soft. And the guides are saying with these drones they have a winning strategy. It's working. It's winning and it's working. They're doing very well. It seems to be that something might have shifted, that maybe Russia doesn't have access to as much. I don't know. It's like something has shifted with Russia's access to drones or access to even money for defense. There's something. I'm not saying they don't have any. I'm saying that something has shifted slightly and it's giving Ukraine a little bit of an edge. Now, I will say, if you can go all the way back to my first two videos on Ukraine, I have two videos from the very beginning, and they've been accurate except for the timing. So, in the videos, I said that the whole war would come down to the Donetsk region, which is where we are now, and Crimea, which is where we are now. The guides are reminding me that Ukraine just blew up a big bridge with drones, which nobody thought could happen because the bridge was substantially physically bigger than the payload weapons on a drone. So, where I'm going with this whole thing about the Donetsk region and Crimea is because the guide said from the very beginning, this is where there could be a deal that is made. There could be a deal. For many years, I went into Zelensky's energy, and his energy was, I will crawl naked over broken glass before I give in and give any of my territory away. But you have to understand that these territories were already annexed by Russia. Russia was already controlling these areas. Ukrainians could come and go, Russians could come and go, but Russia was in control of them. So there could be a situation where if a real, and I mean real, peace deal was proffered and not these fake things that Putin does where he says peace, fire, and then he starts blowing things up. But if a real one was to be negotiated, I feel like he would negotiate some kind of joint ownership of the Donetsk, or he would be negotiable to something just to end the war, because it's a little bit of a stalemate at the time. But they are doing well, and I think that even if, oh, Russia gets their drones from Iran. Well, there's the thing that's changed. There's the thing that's changed. Okay, thank you for that. Um, so plus, if when Putin goes, because I always see Putin, Trump, and Netanyahu being like this triangle, evil of axis, the three of them. When Putin goes, I see this new person that takes over, has military connections. If they aren't military, they have military connections. They lock the country down because it's going to be mayhem. They're not going to have food. They're not going to have heating oil. How many hundreds of thousands and thousands of men are gone? They don't have, they will have trouble keeping the populations peaceful. So I feel like they will likely retreat from Ukraine, and take any deal that's offered. But that's after Putin goes. And Putin is, he's got 27,000 lives or something. I don't know. A little bit like Trump. Zelensky is the leader of the free world. Oh my God, that's so true. He would be the leader that we would want of the free world, honestly. Russia is making drones, and of course, countries are supplying them, even though they're not supposed to. It's, Ukraine has taken these drones apart and seen countries like the United States having parts in there, however it got there, on the black market. So yeah, I mean, they are still making drones, but there is a interruption in the number of drones they're getting. That's true. That's true. Russia took Crimea on Obama's time. But I mean, so you guys think about it. I want you to really think about this. What was Obama supposed to do? Was he what would you have liked Obama to pull on Afghanistan? Would you have liked Obama to send our troops into Crimea and say no, and our troops to fight Russia over Crimea? Because we have to think about this, right? Like, sometimes I think we see things, we make these snap decisions that this person should have done something, but I think it's much more complicated. Um, I think Obama was very much like, I'm not sending troops into harm's way. He was actually the big person about, I'm going to use this missile to kill this guy, right? He killed people surgically, right? He didn't get a lot of bennies for that either. And Obama did things I didn't like either. But I'm saying that we just need to think about it. We need to at least consider what could have been the options at that time. We cannot afford this war. We cannot. That's why when somebody asked earlier if we were going to build bases on the moon, I'm like, we can't we can't even afford our own country right now. We are not going to have any money for bases on the moon right now. He could have. Obama could have supported Ukraine to fight. I think that Obama was under the impression, and he was all the way through Biden, and Biden was too. They were all under the impression of, let's walk on eggshells around the crazy Putin man because we don't want to upset him. So the whole world was tiptoeing around Putin, just like you do a narcissist. It's called walking on eggshells, right? This guy has nukes. So I think a lot of world leaders said, well, we're just going to look the other way and not engage him, right? I mean, they could have allowed Ukraine to go into NATO much sooner. I mean, there was a lot of support that could have been had for Ukraine. Ukraine gave up their nukes, gave them up for the whole point that Russia was supposed to never invade them. Russia completely, went against everything. And I agree with you. Biden should have done something, Obama should have done something, but so should Europe have done something, right? So I think there's a lot of things here to think about. Yeah, a lot of things to think about. Is Cassidy Hutchinson safe? I'm trying to remember who that is. I think it's one of his, was that somebody who was in his PR or something? Look, I'm just going to say no. The answer is no, she's not safe. But I think that she knows, but she is doing everything she can to remain safe. She's not, I don't know. All I can tell you is she's taking every single precaution she can. And what that means is not hiding as much as it means not talking to anybody, right? Like, they're showing me Ivana Trump, right? Like, so she's dead. I talked to her after she died, and she kept saying they didn't have to do that. I wasn't going to rat them out. They didn't have to do it. But the fact that she was going to give a deposition made them uneasy. They didn't trust her. So Cassidy Hutchinson is trying to not make them uneasy. She's trying to not give them any reason to think that she's going to do anything. So that's how she's staying safe. She's trying to energetically and physically distance herself from everything that is happening. That's what I'm getting. Who knows, right? Um, Mark Meadows' assistant. Okay, yeah, she testified then, but I don't know if she's going to testify now. She has seen things that I think I don't even want to say it. She has seen things that would make our toes curl. She knows things. She knows a lot of things. Um, and she's trying to be quiet. She's trying to survive. She's trying to live, you know. They are as sick as their secrets. But she's trying to stay alive. I think these people like Hope Hicks and her will potentially come out and testify after 45 is gone, because it feels like after 45 is gone, that's the main threat. The main threat is over. That's what I feel like anyway. Um, I don't think she has powerful friends that will protect her if she's going to turn on them. And see, this is what they just said about Ivana. Ivana said, I wasn't going to do anything. Why did they think I would do something? I was trustworthy, but they didn't think she was. And therefore, she's now in a golf course, that's not even mowed. So anyway, stop drinking the Kool-Aid. It's a great name. Will these poor TSA, and then after this, I think I'm going to close it down because we are at 2 hours. But thank you guys. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. Remember that I have an online community that is free, that you can join, that is not full of trolls. It's not full of advertising. We actually, hang out together and chat. It's free, SusanLynnMedium.com. I have a paid community where I do readings for my members, $12 a month, SusanLynnMedium.com. I have a class coming up, Discover Your Soul's Path. If you want to know about your soul's path, I'm going to help you figure it out. Like, why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I here? We're going to help you figure that out. SusanLynnMedium.com. Okay. Stop Drinking the Kool-Aid says, when will these poor TSA employees get some financial relief, back compensation, and get a chance to breathe? The guides, for some reason, want me to add traffic controllers in there. I don't know if the air traffic controllers are in the same position or not. But the TSA agents, they are going to get back pay, as is, I feel, all of the government employees that got riffed or took the deal and never got their money or whatever happened to them. I feel like all these people are going to get made whole. But the problem is that meanwhile, you couldn't pay your mortgage. Meanwhile, you couldn't buy food. Getting money 2 months from now is not helpful, right? Because how do you get out of that hole? So I feel like those same employees are going to get back pay, but they're going to sue the government and they're going to be successful. They're going to get extra money because of the higher interest rates they had to pay because they missed loans, or there's a hardship that happened due to the government. And so not only will they get their back pay, but they will get some sort of extra money. Now, when will they get financial relief back? I mean, I feel like this could be happening throughout the month and even into May, because something happens in June. Like, okay, so aren't they getting paid? Didn't Trump take money from something else and is paying them? But as far as getting their back pay, it feels like June, July, but it could even take as long as into the holidays, into November, December, because I feel like I see people at Thanksgiving time and at the holiday time having an extra infusion of money into their bank account. That is a little bit surprising, like it's a class action lawsuit, and the money just gets deposited into their bank account. So yeah, it's not soon enough, but it is going to happen. It is going to happen. Yeah. If you're just joining, please go and start from the beginning, because I covered so many topics that you're probably wondering about. I think I covered all the topics we're talking about, right now that's top of mind. TSA is being paid, not DHS. Okay. Yeah. Something happens in June. I don't know if there could be another government shutdown coming up in June, because there's something to do with transportation and some kind of stoppage or delay. And it doesn't feel like, I mean, I right now anyway, it doesn't feel like it's a tragedy. It feels like a breakdown of something. And I don't even know if Congress is in office then. So I'm not sure what that would be. But there feels like there's just some, I guess it could be that planes are down for some like software thing. There just seems like some kind of slowdown there. How, let's just do this and then I'll sign off. How does May look for the USA? Um, the guides just said rocky. I'm just going to tell you what they told me. But I think overall, April more is more pointed. It's harder. It's sharper. It's like the rocks are sharp. May is just like a hassle. It feels like we're used to a certain amount of disruptions or a certain amount of crap, and we're just doing the thing to get through it. So I would also say May doesn't feel like anything new, big new things happen. April is the month of big new things. Then June feels like again another spike. Beginning of July is another spike of some big revelation. Like maybe we learn more things or something happens to wake people up. These things are important, you guys. If these things don't happen sooner rather than later too, these people just don't wake up, and if they don't wake up, then there's no pressure, right? So the things that are happening are all moving us in the right direction, and that direction is towards parity, it's towards more equality, it's towards all the things we want. But we have to wake these people up that are in the rural states and don't have doctors anymore. They're like, "Why don't I have a doctor? Why can't, I went to the doctor 6 months ago and they're gone now." So these are the things that kind of have to happen, unfortunately, for them to wake up. Also, something with beef potentially. I don't know. I just saw, well, I see cows, dairy cows and beef cows. There could be something, some disruption with that. Um, but overall, I want you guys, it's really important to count your blessings every day. It's really important because it's so easy to get caught up in the darkness. It's so easy to get caught up in, how is this happening? I do it. I trust me, I'm a very sensitive person. I can feel the energy. I see all these potential timelines that happen. It's very hard on me, so I understand. But the truth of the matter is, right now, anyway, I'm healthy, I'm safe. Like, what can you be grateful for? It's going to change your energy. Now, if you're saying, I don't want to do that because these people in Iran, or these people in Ukraine, or these people in Minneapolis, or these people wherever, because they're suffering, I will tell you again about the light at the end of the tunnel. We are the light at the end of the tunnel. If you're having a boring life, not good, not bad, but just chugging along, you are the light at the end of the tunnel. The people that are being hounded by ICE, that can't go out of their house, the people that can't afford groceries, the people that can't afford the rent, the people that are in a war zone, those people are in the darkness. And they're looking at that twinkling lights, hoping to make it there. That's you. That's me. Right now, I'm actually the light. Sometimes I'm going to be in the tunnel and I'm going to be looking at you, my friend, having a nice coffee on your deck, enjoying the sun, right? That might not be available for me. And I'm going to be looking at you. So please enjoy yourself because you are the light for someone else. Don't feel guilty about it. Be blessed about it and know that that is the light that somebody else is seeing and trying to get to. And, I hope you're that light for me when I need it. And I hope I'm that light for you when you need it. So don't feel guilty about having fun or having a nice time or laughing or enjoying yourself. Do it more because you're throwing that beautiful light into the atmosphere. And we don't always get to do that. So when you can, I hope you do, right? Okay, everybody, I'm wishing you much love. Have a great weekend. Please have a good weekend. Oh, Kevin Lewis Medium, you're still here. Good to see you. Um, Going to a cafe, playing with your grandkids, your kids, your dogs, walking in nature. I sat in the grass the other day because of my dogs. But anyway, and you know what? It's so grounding. If you live in a place where there's not snow, where you can sit in the grass, sand, dirt, sit in it. Just if you can get down to the ground, sit in it. It's such a grounding. It's so healing, right? But if you can't do that, go out and put your hands on a tree, or even look vicariously out a window at a tree. That's good too. Watching videos of forest bathing through videos, the guides are saying. So watch a YouTube video of somebody walking through the forest. You're healing. You're healing yourself. Just very important. We need to be healing ourselves so that on the other side of this we can really get what we want. We can really stand up and have the energy um to fight back and say we want these things. We deserve these things, right? All right, everybody. Well, it'll hopefully the sun will come out for you, right? The sun is going to come out for all of us. It really is. But just when it does, enjoy it. That's my advice to you. Really, really enjoy it, okay? Yeah. All right, everybody. Take really good care. I'll see you again soon. Much love.